She called me boring, predictable. Then she stole my grandfather's D-Day cufflinks and flew to paradise with her ex-boyfriend. Posted it all online. I'm a defense contractor who spent 30 years planning for contingencies. She wanted excitement. I gave her a federal investigation and got my family heirlooms back. My name is David Crane, and I'm 57 years old, and I spent 32 years working in defense logistics before transitioning to private consulting. That I've coordinated supply chains through 3 war zones, managed classified shipments across hostile borders, and learned one fundamental truth. Chaos doesn't announce itself with sirens. It arrives quietly, wearing familiar clothes, smiling at you over morning coffee. That Tuesday started ordinary enough. I was in my home office reviewing a contract proposal when my phone buzzed. A text from my niece Sarah. "Uncle David, you might want to check Jin's Instagram before it disappears." Mr. Mock dropped before my brain caught up. I opened the app. There she was, Jennifer, my wife of 30 years, Pool City at some Bahamas resort I definitely hadn't paid for, wearing a white bikini I'd never seen. Her head rested on the shoulder of a man whose face I recognized immediately. Ryan Mitchell, her college boyfriend, the one she called the biggest waste of my 20s. A tour 20th anniversary dinner. His sunglasses sat perched on her head like they belonged there. Her left hand, Theon still wearing the wedding ring it saved 3 months to buy, held a blue cocktail. They were both laughing. The caption read, "Never settle for less than you deserve." I sat there for what felt like an hour, but was probably 90 seconds. The coffee in my mug went cold. Something inside me went colder. I didn't throw the phone, didn't curse, didn't call her. I just smiled. The way you smile when a contractor finally shows you the faulty wiring you knew was there all along. Then I opened my laptop. See, Jennifer always called me predictable. Boring even. Said I was too methodical, too careful, too obsessed with contingency plans. She wanted spontaneity, adventure, passion. What you forgot was that methodical men don't panic. We pivot. I pulled up our bank accounts, joint savings, joint checking, the credit cards with both our names that I'd built redundancies into our financial infrastructure years ago, right after her father's stroke, when she panicked about having nothing in her own name. I'd set up separate accounts, then for her security. I'd said she'd never bothered checking the details. 30 years soft military precision training doesn't disappear just because you retire. It transferred exactly half of our joint savings into my personal account. Took 4 minutes. Then I froze the joint credit card, the one currently funding that resort vacation. Another 2 minutes. Mu phone along. Jennifer's sister probably that I silenced it. I wasn't angry. Anger is it, impulsive, stupid. I was cold, calm, and surgical. She wanted to laugh at me from paradise. Fine. Let's see how funny paradise gets when the money stops flowing. I picked up my coffee mug, took a sip of the cold brew, and started making a list of phone calls I needed to make. Starting with the resort concierge. The first domino fell quietly, the way I planned it. Jennifer wouldn't notice immediately. She never checked our accounts until she needed something. That was my advantage. She'd gotten comfortable, complacent, trusting that the money would always be there because it always had been. I spent the next hour combing through 6 months off-bank statements. Each line item told a story she thought I'd never read. A lingerie boutique in Richmond, $240.30 weeks ago. A spa called Serenity, now that specialize in couples massages, $380 twice last month. Dinner at Antoine's, an upscale French place downtown. $412 on a Tuesday night when she texted Mesh was working late on the quarterly audit. Antoine was in Georgetown. Ryan Mitchell lived in Georgetown. Funny how that worked. I canceled her joint credit card. Then I systematically went through every subscription, every auto pay, every recurring charge tied to her name or mail. iCloud storage gone. Cell phone plan disconnected from autopay. Spotify, Netflix, Hulu canceled. I left exactly one thing active. The car insurance. When that lapsed and the DMV sent her a registration violation notice, she'd need to handle it herself. My phone buzzed again. Jennifer's mother this time. I let it go to voicemail. The thing about being methodical is that people mistake it for passivity. Jennifer had spent years interpreting my calm as weakness, my planning as fear off confrontation. She'd forgotten or never truly understood that I'd spent 3 decades in an industry where one miscalculation meant people died. I didn't make miscalculations. I pulled up the booking confirmation for Villa Paraiso Resort, still in my email from when I'd foolishly believed we were planning a couple's getaway for our anniversary. She'd gone without me with him. Using my planning, my research, my money, I dialed the resort's front desk. Villa Paraiso, this is Claudia speaking. How may I assist you today? Good afternoon, I said, my voice perfectly pleasant. My name is David Crane. My wife, Jennifer Crane, is currently aguist at your resort. I need to make a change to the payment information on file. Of course, sir. May I have a reservation number? I read it off. Heard her keyboard clicking. Yes, I see the reservation here. How can I help? The credit card currently on file has been compromised. I said smoothly. I need to remove it from the account. All future charges should be billed directly to Mrs. Crane. She'll need to provide her own payment method going forward. A pause. Will you be providing an alternate card, sir? No, Eruplia. She's an adult. She can handle her own expenses. You understand? I'll make that notation immediately. Thank you for your assistance. I hung up and leaned back in my chair. The afternoon sun slanted through the window, catching dust motes in the air. Everything looked the same as it had this morning, but everything had changed. My laptop was still open. One more call to make, the most important one. I pulled up my encrypted email, the one I maintained since my dude consulting days, and began typing. The subject line read, Spousal Financial Estrangement Preliminary Documentation. This was a revenge. Revenge was emotional, chaotic, short-sighted. This was strategy. My son Benjamin arrived home door that evening without calling first. He stood on the porch in his army fatigues, duffel bag over one shoulder. Jaws said in that way that reminded me of myself at his age. Dad, he said simply. I stepped aside. He walked in, dropped his bag, and turned to face me. Olivia called me. Benjamin said, shown the posts. I got emergency leave approved. Drove straight here from Fort Campbell. Something in my chest tightened. Not grief, pride. My boy had dropped everything and driven 6 hours because his father needed him. You didn't have to do that. I told him. Yes, I did. He crossed his arms. What's the plan? I almost smiled. Now what happened? Are you okay? What's the plan? That's how I'd raised him. I've already initiated financial separation that I said froze the accounts. Contacted the resort, started documentation. He nodded slowly. Good. What else? There's something I need to tell you. I walked to my office, Benjamin following. I opened the safe built into the wall. Theo and Jennifer had never bothered learning the combination, too. Inside, wrapped in velvet cloth, sat a pair of gold cufflinks. I handed them to Benjamin. He turned them over in his palm, examining the engraved initials. JC, these belong to your great-grandfather. I said he wore them at Normandy, carried them through France and Germany. My grandfather gave them to me before he died. They're worth about $4,000, but their real value is what they represent. Honor, sacrifice, family. Benjamin looked up. Why are you showing me this now? Because they were missing from the safe, I said quietly. I noticed yesterday when I was organizing documents. Your mother knew they were here. She's the only other person who's been in this office. His expression hardened. She took them. I checked the security cameras. I pulled up the footage on my computer. The timestamp read, 3 weeks ago, 2 days before Jennifer left for her vacation. The video showed her opening the safe, removing the velvet pouch, and slipping it into her purse. Benjamin's hands curled into fists. She stole from you, from us? She stole from your great-grandfather's memory. I corrected Anne. I guarantee she gave them to Ryan. Probably thought they make a nice romantic gesture. We're getting them back, Benjamin stated. Not a question. Eventually, I agreed. But first, Shin's understand the full weight off what she's done. This isn't just about infidelity anymore. This is theft of family heirlooms. That changes the legal landscape considerably. Benjamin Medmaeus, you've been planning this. I've been preparing for contingencies. I said there's a difference. My phone bust. A text from Jennifer. David, my card I sent working. The hotel is saying there's a problem. Call me. I showed Benjamin the message. He snorted. You going tone swear? Not yet. I said, let her sweat. She wanted independence and excitement. Let's see how she handles both. Jennifer's photo appeared on my screen again 3 hours later. I didn't answer. 6 more calls followed over the next 2 hours. Then a text. This isn't funny, David. Something's wrong with our accounts. Benjamin sat across from me at the kitchen table, sipping coffee. We'd spent the past hour reviewing documents, planning next steps. My daughter Olivia had arrived an hour ago. Her paralegal training immediately put to use organizing financial records. She's panicking. Olivia observed, reading over my shoulder. Good, Benjamin said flatly. Another text came through. David, please. I need you to call the bank that there's been some kind of mistake. Olivia looked at me. Are you going to respond? Not to her, I said. I opened my laptop instead and pulled up the chat log. Jennifer didn't know I had access to her iCloud backup, still synced to the family account. Another thing she'd never bothered checking. The messages between her and Ryan went back for months. I scrolled through them, my face expressionless even as my children read over my shoulders. Can't wait to show that boring old man what he's missing. Olivia read aloud, her voice shaking with anger. She wrote that about you. Keep reading. I said quietly. Benjamin leaned closer. The cufflinks are perfect. He'll never know they're gone. He barely looks at anything from his past anyway. Dad, she planned this, Olivia whispered. The whole thing was calculated. Yes, I agreed, which makes me response entirely justified. My phone rang. A different number. I answered. David Crane. Mr. Crane, this is Miguel Reyes, manager at Villa Paraiso Resort. I'm calling regarding Mrs. Jennifer Crane's account. Yes, there seems to be a situation with payment for her suite. The card on file has been declined and she's unable to provide alternative payment. She's quite distressed. She mentioned you might be able to help clarify the situation. There's no situation to clarify. I replied calmly to Mrs. Crane is traveling independently, that I'm not responsible for her expenses. Obvious. I see. The charges have accumulated to just over $8,000. If we didn't receive payment by tomorrow morning, we'll need to restrict room access and hold her passport per local regulations. That's between you and Mrs. Crane. I said, I'm not involved. Understood, sir. Thank you for your time. I hung up. Benjamin was grinning. They're going to hold her passport. Standard practice in the Caribbean for unpaid resort bills. I explained. She's not going anywhere until she settles her account. With what money? Olivia asked. Exactly? I said. My phone exploded with calls. Jennifer. Jennifer again. Her mother. Her sister Lindsay. I silenced them all. Then a new notification appeared. An email from the U.S. Embassy in the Bahamas. Subject line, inquiry regarding U.S. citizen Jennifer Crane. I appended it. The message was brief and professional, requesting I contact them regarding my wife's situation abroad. Benjamin leaned back in his chair. Here we go. Here we go. I echoed and started composing my reply. The call came from Washington at 9:47 a.m. I was in my office. Benjamin reviewing security footage on one monitor while Olivia Cross referenced credit card statements on another. We'd built a war room in 72 hours. Mr. David Crane, the voice was male professional with that particular cadence that screamed federal employee speaking. I replied, this is Special Liaison Patra Drummond with the Department of Defense Benefit Oversight Division. I'm calling regarding a flag that's been raised on your dependent travel credentials. I put the phone on speaker. Benjamin and Olivia stopped what they were doing. What kind of flag? I asked, though I knew exactly what kind. Our system shows unusual activity on benefits associated with your security clearance history. Specifically, dependent travel upgrades and facility access that may have been utilized without your knowledge or authorization. Can you confirm you're aware your spouse recently traveled internationally using these credentials? I became aware when she posted photos of herself on vacation with her boyfriend. I said, clearly I was not informed of the trip, did not authorize the use of any military-associated benefits, and have since separated all financial ties. A pause at her typing. Mr. Crane, this is a serious matter. Unauthorized use of DODELN benefits constitutes fraud under federal law. We'll need a formal statement from you. Are you willing to provide one? Absolutely. I said, I have documentation, including communications proving she was aware these benefits were tied to my clearance status and used them anyway. We'll be sending you secure forms within the hour. Mr. Crane, I need to inform you that your wife's travel status may be restricted pending investigation. The embassy has been notified. Understand, I replied. After he hung up, Benjamin leaned back in his chair. Dad, she's not getting out of there anytime soon-ish. Not unless she finds $8,000 for the resort bill, plus whatever fines the due investigation adds, I said. And even then, she'll be flagged in the system for months. My phone bust. Jennifer again. I'd stopped counting how many times she called. This time, though, there was a voicemail. I played on speaker. Her voice came through shaking and raw. David, please. The embassy says there's an investigation. They won't tell me. The hotel is threatening to call local police if I don't pay. Ryan left this morning. He left me here. Please. I know I messed up, but I can't fix this alone. I need you. Olivia's expression hardened. She needs you. Where was that energy when she was stealing grandfather's cufflinks? Her posting photos mocking dad online. Benjamin added, I saved the voicemail. This goes in the evidence folder. Her admission that Ryan abandoned her is full. Another call came through. Jennifer's sister, Lindsay. I answered this one. David, Lindsay said, her voice died with anger. What the hell are you doing to my sister? Hello, Lindsay. I replied calmly. I'm not doing anything to Jennifer. I'm simply no longer funding her vacation with her boyfriend. She's stranded. She's alone. The embassy won't help her. The embassy won't help her because she committed federal fraud. I said she used my military credentials to upgrade flights and access benefits she wasn't entitled to. That's not me being cruel. That's the legal system responding to her choices. You're really going to let her suffer over there. Lindsay, your sister stole from me. She mocked me publicly. She planned this trip deliberately to humiliate me, and now she's facing consequences. If you want to help her, wire her $8,000 for the hotel bill. Otherwise, she'll figure out. You're a bastard, Lindsay spat. Maybe, I said, but I'm a bastard who didn't cheat on his wife, steal family heirlooms, or commit federal fraud. Have you a good day, Lindsay? I hung up. Olivia looked at me with something like, Dad, that was ice cold. Your mother raised the temperature. I replied, I'm just adjusting it back down. 3 days later, Jennifer's desperation had evolved into full panic. The resort had moved her to a smaller room with ocean view, apparently standard practice for guests with unpaid balances. Her social media had gone dark. No more poolside photos, no more cocktail selfies, but I had other sources of information. Benjamin had a friend stationed at the naval base near the Bahamas. Through informal channels, we learned that Jennifer had tried to visit the embassy twice more. Each time she'd been turned away with instructions to wait for the investigation to conclude. Ryan Mitchell, meanwhile, had returned to the States. Olivia found his Facebook post, a photo of him back at his gym in Richmond. Caption reading home sweet home. No mention of Jennifer. No couple photos, nothing. He'd erased her from his narrative the moment things got complicated. My phone rang. Unknown number again. I answered, Mr. Crane. This is Miguel Reyes at Villa Parasoagan. I apologize for calling, but we have a situation. Mrs. Crane has been found attempting to leave the resort with her luggage without settling her account. Resort security detained her. She's requesting we contact you. I'm not responsible for her debts. I said, Sir, with respect, she's claiming you've somehow frozen her access to funds illegally. She's threatening legal action against the resort if we continue holding her. Mr. Reyes, I've frozen nothing illegally. I removed my financial support from a joint account. The money I transferred was mine. She's welcome to pursue legal action. Booch will find judges aren't sympathetic to hospices who commit adultery and fraud. A long pause. What would you suggest, Wedo, sir? Contact her parents, I said. Or her boyfriend who abandoned her. Or her sister, but I'm done being her safety net. Understood. Thank you for your time. I hung up and looked at my children. How long do you think it takes before she breaks completely? She's already breaking. Olivia said, showing your phone. Look, it was a Facebook post from Jennifer's mother, Martha. Public post. The text read, some people forget who sacrificed everything for them. David Crane paid for my husband's cancer treatment when our insurance failed. He fixed our roof after the storm. He never asked for anything back. My daughter forgot what loyalty looks like. I have it. Benjamin whistled low. Own mother just threw her under the bus. That's not throwing her under the bus. I corrected. That's telling the truth. Something Jennifer stopped doing months ago. My email pinged. Subject line, Federal Benefit Misuse Investigation. I opened it. The message was from Special Liaison Drummond. Mr. Crane, thank you for your detailed statement and supporting documentation. Based on the evidence provided, we are moving forward with formal proceedings that Mrs. Jennifer Crane's dependent travel privileges have been suspended indefinitely. She will be required topier for questioning upon her return to U.S. jurisdiction. We appreciate your cooperation in this matter. I forwarded the email to my lawyer with a note. Keep us on file. May need it for divorce proceedings. Benjamin stood up and stretched. Dad, you've essentially trapped her in paradise with no money, no allies, and a federal investigation waiting when she gets home. That's pretty hardcore. Your mother wanted excitement. I said simply. She got it. Jennifer came home on a Thursday, 3 weeks after she'd left. Not in triumph, but in defeat. Her parents had finally wired money to the resort .8000 for the bill. Another $2,000 for her flight home. Economy class. Middle C. No abgrats. Benjamin had spotted her flight information through connections I didn't ask about. We were ready. I didn't go to the airport. Neither did our children. Instead, I hired a process server to meet her at baggage claim with divorce papers and a restraining order preventing her from entering our former home, the one I'd sold 2 weeks earlier. Olivia had helped me document everything for the sale. The house had been in my name only, purchased before our marriage. Jennifer had signed a quitclaim deed years ago during refinancing. She never bothered reading what she signed. The sale netted $680,000. I split it evenly between Benjamin and Olivia for their future home down payments. Jennifer got nothing. My phone rang at 4:17 p.m. Jennifer. I answer his time. David. Her voice was hollow. Scrape raw. Where are you? At my new apartment, I said calmly. Where I've been living for 2 weeks. The house that there's a sold sign. There's a family moving furniture in. What did you do? I sold my house. I replied. It was mine. The deed was clear. That was our home. Her voice broke. 30 years, David. You should have thought about that before you posted vacation photos with your boyfriend, I said. Or before you stole me grandfather's cufflinks to give to him. Silence, then quietly. How did you know about that? Security cameras. A video of you taking them from the safe. Ryan's been served with a civil suit for receiving stolen property that he'll either return them or face criminal charges. His lawyer has already reached out about settling. David, please. I have nowhere to go. Your parents have a house. Your sister has a spare room. Ryan has an apartment. Oh, wait. He blocked your number. Didn't he? You're enjoying this. She said bitterly that I'm not enjoying anything. I replied that I'm simply no longer your solution to problems you created. Jennifer, you being served with divorce papers. The grounds are adultery and fraud. I have documentation of everything. The affair, the stolen heirlooms, the federal benefit misuse. My lawyer estimates this will be finalized in 90 days. You should get your own attorney. With what money? She screamed. You took everything. It took what was mine. I corrected. The joint accounts were split legally. The house was mine. The benefits you abused were mine. You still have your car, your personal belongings, and whatever Ryan bought you before he realized you were all liability. I hate you. She whispered. That's fine, I said. But you'll hate me from a distance. The restraining order is active. Don't contact me except through lawyers. Goodbye, Jennifer. I hung up and blocked her number. Benjamin walked into the living room of my new place. How'd she sound? Broken, I said. Good. He sat down across from me. Dad, I need to tell you something. Ryan's gym buddy contacted me. Ryan's telling people you fabricated the whole thing, that Mom were just on a girls' trip and you went crazy. I smiled. Did he forget about the photos, the captions, Thetum stamps? Apparently, he thinks people will believe him over evidence. Then's dumber than I thought. I said Olivia's already compiled everything into a digital folder. If Ryan wants to play that game, we'll make sure every Oni in Richmond knows exactly what kind of offman he is. My phone bust. A text from an unknown number. This is Ryan. We need to talk about those cufflinks. I showed Benjamin. He's scared. Benjamin observed. He should be. I replied and started typing my response. Ryan Mitchell made the mistake of showing you Pat my new apartment 2 days later. I was expecting him. Benjamin had parked his truck down the street, just in case things got physical. I opened the door. Ryan stood there in expensive workout gear. Tried to look intimidating. He was 6'2", muscular from years of the gym. He was 6 foot lean from military discipline. Age and experience beat gym muscles every time. David, he said, we need to talk. No, we don't. I replied, you need to return stolen property. That's not a conversation. That's a legal obligation. Those cufflinks were a gift. Jenny gave them to me. Jennifer had no right to give them. They were family heirlooms held in trust. She stole them. You received stolen property. That's a felony in Virginia. Would you like to explain that to the police? Or would you prefer to return them quietly? His jaw tightened. You're bluffing. I pulled out my phone and showed him the video footage. Jennifer opening the safe, removing the velvet pouch, closing it again. Timestamp clearly visible. That's theft, I said. Documented, dated, saved in 3 separate locations. My lawyer has already filed a civil suit. The criminal complaint is drafted and ready to file if you don't cooperate. Your choice, Ryan. He stared at the screen. She said you'd never notice. She was wrong about a lot of things. I said, do you have them here or do I need to get a warrant? He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out the velvet pouch, handed it over like it burned his fingers. I opened it. Both cufflinks undamaged. I felt something unclench in me chest. Smart decision, I said. Is that it? Are we done? Almost. I replied, point one more thing. You're going to sign an affidavit stating you receive these under false pretenses and are returning them voluntarily. My lawyer will email it to you today. You have 24 hours to sign and return it or the criminal complaint gets filed. You're a real piece of work, Ryan muttered. No, incorrective. I'm a man protecting what's mine. You're a coward who ran the moment things got complicated. Jennifer learned that lesson in the Bahamas. Maybe you should remember it before you go after someone else's wife. He turned and walked away without another word. Benjamin appeared from around the corner. That went well. Better than expected. I agreed, holding up the pouch. These are going in a safety deposit box. No one touches them again till we walk back inside. Olivia was waiting with her laptop. Ryan just posted on Facebook, she said, turning the screen toward me. The post read, some people can't let go of the past. Moving forward with positivity. Screenshot that. I said, it'll be useful when Wes how the pattern of his behavior. Man steals from his girlfriend's husband, returns the stolen property when threatened with charges, then plays the victim online. That's textbook narcissism. Already saved. Olivia confirmed. Dad, have you thought about what happens when the divorce is final? I start living again, I said simply. Without someone who sees me as boring, without someone who takes what I've built, just me building something new. Benjamin put a hand on my shoulder to you got us. That's not nothing, that's everything. I corrected my phone bust. A text from Jennifer's lawyer. Mr. Crane, we need to discuss settlement terms. My client is requesting spousal support given the length of the marriage. I showed it to Olivia. She started laughing. What are you going toward? Olivia asked. That she deserves support after committing adultery and federal fraud. Good luck with that. Get it back. Your client can request whatever she wants. She'll get nothing. See you in court. Jennifer wanted to negotiate, but I didn't negotiate with people who'd already shown me they couldn't be trusted. I'd spent 30 years learning that lesson in defense contracting. Jennifer had just given me a refresher course. The divorce was finalized on a gray October morning, 93 days from filing to completion. Judge Matthews hadn't minced words in his ruling. This court finds clear evidence of adultery, fraud, and premeditated deception on the part of Mrs. Crane. She's entitled to nothing beyond her personal effects. Jennifer had sat stone-faced through the entire proceeding. Her lawyer barely put up a fight. I left the courthouse with Benjamin and Olivia. We didn't celebrate. This wasn't victory, it was closure. 2 weeks later, I received a call from Special Liaison Drummond. Mr. Crane, the DOD investigation has concluded. Mrs. Crane plead guilty to misuse of dependent benefits. She's been fined $12,000 and placed on a federal watch list. She won't be able to use military facilities or benefits ever again. Thank you for the update, I said at MR. Crane, off the record, you handled this better than most people would have. You documented everything, stayed calm, and let the system work. That takes discipline. I had good teachers, I replied. What he didn't mention was that Jennifer had also lost her job. Her employer had quietly let her go after a federal conviction became public. Record. News traveled fast in small professional circles. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she was living in a studio apartment on the edge off town, working retail. Ryan had blocked her on everything. Her parents spoke to her, but relationships were strained. I felt nothing about it. Not satisfaction, not pity, just absence. My phone buzzed, a text from Sarah, my niece. Uncle David, I'm proud of you. Grammy would have been too. My grandmother had raised me after me parents died. She taught me that dignity wasn't about never falling. It was about how you stood back up. Jennifer tried to knock me down. It stood up and walked away instead. I looked at the cufflinks on my dresser back in their velvet case in a new safe, and why grandfather's legacy preserved. Benjamin would inherit them someday, then pass them to his own children. Some things were worth fighting for. Some people weren't. Jennifer had taught me to know the difference. Spring came early that year. I was on my back porch watching my neighbor's kids play basketball when Olivia pulled into the driveway. She wasn't alone. The woman with her was maybe 50 with kind eyes and gray streak hair, pulled into a loose bun. She wore jeans and a cardigan and carried a casserole dish. Dad, Olivia called. This is Dr. Andrea Sullivan. She worked at the hospital with me. Cardiology department. Andrea, this is me father, David. Andrea extended her hand. Olivia has told me a lot about you, Mr. Crane. All good things, I promise. Her smile was genuine. No agenda behind it. No calculation, just warmth. Call me David, I said. And thank you for the casserole, though. You didn't need to bring anything. Old habit, Andrea replied. My grandmother always said, never show up empty-handed. We talked for an hour on that porch. Andrea was a widow. Her husband had died 4 years ago from a heart attack. She had 2 grown sons, both teachers. She liked hiking, old movies, and terrible pawns. She laughed easily and listened carefully. When I mentioned my consulting work, she asked intelligent questions. When I talked about my kids, she smiled like she understood exactly what I meant. After she left, Olivia lingered. She's nice, isn't she? Olivia asked carefully. Very nice. I agreed that she's been through something similar. Her husband wasn't unfaithful, but she understands loss. I thought maybe you two could be friends. I looked at mid-daughter. You're matchmaking. I'm introducing 2 good people who deserve good things. Olivia corrected. What happens after that is up to you. Benjamin's truck pulled up. He joined us in the porch, and I told him about Andrea. Dad, dating again. Benjamin grinned. About time. I'm not dating. I protested. I met her once. But you liked her. Olivia pressed. I thought about Andrea's laugh, the easy conversation, the lack of games or pretense. Yeah, I admitted I did. Then call her, Benjamin said simply. So I did. We met for coffee next week. Then dinner, then a hike through Shenandoah. Andrea didn't need me to be exciting or spontaneous. She appreciated steady. She valued consistent. She saw methodical as a strength, not a flaw. 8 months after Jennifer posted those photos, I stood at a lookout point in the Blue Ridge Mountains with Andrea beside me. The valley stretched out below, endless and green. Beautiful, isn't it? Andrea said it really is. I agreed. She took my hand. Not possessive, just present, just there. I'd spent 30 years with someone who saw me as a safety net, a backup plan, a stable option while she looked for better. Andrea saw me as a choice, one she made every day, deliberately and happily. That was the difference between settling and choosing. Jennifer never understood that. Andrea did. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I belonged.